Okay, so it is very tough creating a graphical user interface completely with Python. Okay, so let us keep that part away. But how can I utilize this tickinter in better way for my programming? Okay, so indirectly, this kind of a tickinter library helps us in opening some of the Windows related file dialog boxes. So look at that file, and if I keep open, it is opening this. This is what open dialog box. Correct. So now I'm going to use this tickinter to open a dialog box in which I can select a directory. Okay. For that, I'm going to use this library from tickinter. I'm going to import something called file dialog. So I'm importing a file dialog. So what I'm going to do after the file dialog, look at that. Folder is equal to file dialog dot ask directory. This function will help us in, let me comment this. Okay, helps us in selecting the folder. Look at that folder. So when I run this specific command, it opens this folder up. Look at that. The folder window got created where you can choose whatever folder you want to integrate your stuff. So that's the beauty. And this small dialog box is a tickinter driver file. Because of this file only, your tickinter file dialog is getting opened up. Similarly, if you open browser, you alone can see the browser. Correct? You will be seeing only the browser. But fortunately, a driver is always runs at the background, which is actually opening your browser. Similarly, any application that you see in system, right? That is driven by one force. So this is that force. But we don't want this, right? So what I can do, I can write one more command. In fact, one more line to remove that one. So tickinter dot tcaps k small tk and then root dot withdraw. Something that withdraw the root, only show me the directory. So when I run, look at that. It will only show the directory for selection of the folder. If I select download as a folder, look at that. It displays the download. Right. Now it becomes very easy that you can add your file name with that of this browser. Okay. How do you add it now? That's another $1,000,000 question. You can add it simply by using a plus operator. Correct. That's what I usually see people do that. Look at that. Final file is equal to folder plus, they'll do this, folder plus double slash plus that file name. This is what they do normally. Correct. But any code that you write should be optimized via complete Python and complete dynamic stuff. Now these are something that you're adding it statically, okay, through the code. But at times the folder structure may not accept the double slashes. It may accept only the single slash. Sometimes the slashes may come in opposite direction. So that happens when you manually do it. So what you can do, to add a folder with a file, you can have one more library in Python, that is OS. So what you can do, you can use this one, os.path.join. Now what you're going to join? You're going to join your folder with this file. What file? Network DB file. Okay. So when you print this final file, look at that. It displays. Forget about the way it displays, but it get appended. That's how you can use your tickinter. When you want to choose the folder, that means when you want to create the DB for the very first time, or whenever you want to connect the DB for the very first time. But when you want to use the select statement, select means what? You need to select a table. If you want to select a table and you need to connect to the DB that is already created, at that time, you should use some other tickinter folder. Now the tickinter library that I have used here is only to start up the DB. That means to create the DB for the very first time. But when you want to use the select statement, you need to use some other operation. Ask open file name. Look at that. So now let me add this with your query. Okay, now let me keep it as create table. So network 1. So only thing I'm going to do change is, this file name final file will be put over here. That's it. Now the networks one will be created in this folder wherever I create. Okay. Again, I'm repeating ask directory is to select the folder for the first time, because when you do this select, it is altogether a different story. Select query means you need to connect to the existing DB. So you need to use some other tick enter dialog boxes. So ask directory is only to choose the folder. Okay. So when I run, it asks me to select a folder. I'm selecting a picture and done. So let me open a picture table to give you the viewing. There you see networks one got created. Okay. So this is how the ask directory opens. Now I want to insert the data. Insert the data into the particular table. What table? Networks DB, and I'm going to insert a sport table. Now what I have to do? I have to choose this file. So for choosing this file, I cannot use the directory. Here what I have to do? I need to do a different command. So look at that. Let me copy paste and do it separately. Right. So now I'm gonna insert the data. For that, I don't want this ask directory, and I don't want even to concatenate, because I need to select a file. This file, I need to select a DB for in which I want to insert the table. So this is not at all needed. Let me take away. So what is needed? Exactly the file name. That means DB file name where it exists. So here the function should be like file dialog dot ask open file name, and then this file name needs to be given here. Okay. So when I click F5, look at that. It is open dialog box. So now what I can do? Go to the picture and open this file so that I can insert the data. So now go there, open database, go to pictures and select the one. There you see the same data got inserted. So how you gonna use a tick enter, it's up to you. Now I just written in a two different structure, right? But what you can do, you can make these two things into a same just by giving some sort of if else statement. If query starts with insert, if the query starts with select or insert, or if this query starts with create, what is the file dialog that it's supposed to do? You can keep it in the same line, okay, just by putting if statement. Okay, this is how you can add a tick interfile, and there are a lot of optimization that you can do. Now here also, right, you are giving a file name directly while you are creating, right, Networks Academy. You can get it dynamically by inputting your data. Okay, input, enter your DB name. So there are a lot of things that you can change as a part of the code, but this is indeed a basic stuff, at least the essential basic stuff you want to understand. So this is how tick inter works, and tick inter helps us in achieving a lot of other stuff also. Okay, so it's up to you to choose the one which you want to use. Okay, but this is how SQLite and tick inter works together while you create and while you select a file. So that's it, people. That's it with respect to the tick inter and then the SQLite 3 execution, and we'll see some other video with some other content. Thank you.